Good afternoon class, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to our daily current affairs paper Hindu, and for the online students who were attending my class, so art and culture was cancelled because of some technical issue. So yeah, we will resume it tomorrow, fine. Coming to our daily current affairs of paper Hindu. So today I have seen that political news is more comparatively. So yeah, let's see. So GST revenues hit a record of 1.59 lakh crore in January. So every other quarter you would be witnessing that GST rates has been increasing. So the amount that has been collected, or the money that is being collected with this indirect tax of GST, is being increasing every other quarter. Okay. So in the recent budget also it was clear that it is being increased. Fine, just a moment. Fine, so yeah, it is being increased on an every quarter basis. It is being completely increasing only. So if you can see the chart, see from January 2022, so it has been around 1.38 lakh crore, which has been the income that has been generated from GST, and you can see this graph is almost, so in and around 1.5, no? So this time it has touched more than 1.5, which is 1.6, near to 1.6 lakh crore was the income generated from GST, says who? Department or Ministry of Finance. So yeah, that says, which is 10% hike compared to the previous year, Jan 2022. This year there is a 10.6% hike of this particular receipts from GST. So that is about this article. Next. Local news. So yeah, there is going to be one global summit with G20. Of course, this is a local news, but yeah, G20 is again important for our exam for UPSC. So this particular article says about that this G20 meeting is going to be conducted on March 3rd in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. So the main focus is on startups, MSME and innovation sectors to see more registrations. So this particular meeting has seen lot of registrations. So people have come a lot to ask about what is going to happen. So around 41 persons registered their name for investment purposes. So investment inquiry purposes 41% have logged on, and 56% have seek for participation in this G2B meetings, which is government to business meetings. So you know G2G, G2B. So G2C, where your G2B is government to business meetings. So March 2nd is the last date for registration. So within March 2nd, anyone who is interested to attend this particular meeting can attend it. Next summit at AU Engineering College grounds of Vizag or Visakhapatnam. Okay. So that says this article. Not everything other is not important for our exam. Just for you to know the highlights about our G20 presidency. That's all. Next, this is about again local news. Fine. Pro-Kalista Movement leaders, supporters attack Punjab police Ajnala. So here what happened? So even in your social media, if you would have seen, there are huge videos which have circulated online, which is showcasing this particular issue where people of Kalista Movement has started protesting or started fighting with these particular polices of Punjab. So Kalista Movement is what? Something which is important for your internal security GS paper 3. So here Punjab 6 were asking for separate state of Khalistan, okay, which is being supported by terrorists of Pakistan. So this is another issue. So currently, why this particular struggle or why this protest has again came alive is that in the recent news I have mentioned once that a particular person called Amrit Pal, who is a pro-Khalistan person, so he is also a pure supporter of this particular Khalistan, has said that to government that Khalistan movement can't be stopped from flourishing. When he has told even after the government doing any number of steps, taking any number of steps, they cannot stop us from Khalistan movement. So it will be definitely alive. in order to showcase that he has called for this particular protest. Okay, so that is about this article. So now for your internal security, Kalista Movement is important. So far they haven't asked it for around 3 to 4 years. So it was back then when they have asked about Kalista Movement, and now you can expect a question in your prelims regarding, sorry, in your mains regarding Khalistan Movement. Okay, fine. So go research about the backdrop of Khalistan Movement, how it started, why it started, and how the state-sponsored terrorism is being or is showing interest towards this Khalistan Movement, what is their take on it, everything is important. Okay. Next. 9 guest countries for G20 to bring their own plans to the summit. So this particular summit of G20, 9 countries were about to bring their own plans. So what are these countries? Bangladesh, Egypt, Mauritius, Netherlands, Nigeria, Oman, Singapore, Spain and United Arab Emirates. So all these people are trying to come for India's presidency of G20. They are coming to India with their own plans. So plans on what? So 9 guest countries to G20. So for G20 summit we have special invitees, guest countries too, which are not part of G20, but yet we will have some special invitees, right? So all these 9 countries are special invitees. Who are these? These are our guest countries. Okay, guest countries for G20. They will be having, ultimately guided by the continuity of G20, a source familiar to the planning of summit has informed. So the invitee countries are like any other participants in G20. We will not create preconditions for the countries saying don't bring this or that. So think what they have told is that, so administrative demonstration. So what is this is, India is showcasing its interest towards accumulating all the other countries possible into G20. So now it is creating a place where it will invite all these guest country people, and they are no different from other countries. We will have almost same equal treatment, and we will not be giving any constraints to them, like you don't bring this, this is of security policy. So all these things we will not be doing, and also we are facilitating them with this UPI access, which we have already seen. So yeah, that is about this article. So it is just mentioning is what? The sign of the Western focus is evident in US Treasury Secretary Janet comments in Bengaluru on Thursday, where she pledged to bump up economic support to Ukraine by 10 billion. So this is coming regarding Russia and Ukraine war, and recently we have also seen that France is again on India asking for its support, asking for its stake towards Russia. So it is asking that in UNGA, please give your vote. Please cast your vote, don't be abstaining your vote this time. So we need your support, because now this particular day, 24th of February is what? Is anniversary of this Russia and Ukraine war. This is when it has really started. So it has been since a year now. So now what happened? Now US is supporting Ukraine directly, okay, where $10 billion has been pledged by them in Bengaluru itself, supporting this war, coming down heavily on Russia's military campaign, and the meeting of the finance minister and central government governors to be chaired by finance minister. And another thing is that whenever such G20 meetings or anything has come up, our financial policies, our monetary policies, our physical policies will also be, we'll try to align ourselves with other countries. Example, with Singapore now we have one particular policy where our UPI and their SPAY-NOW will be integrated. So our data will be combined. In the same way, now finance minister is also asked that we will be coming up with a global cryptocurrency plan. That is also there in one of the articles, where finance minister has urged or has been putting forward that we global countries will come up with a particular plan which is constant or common for cryptocurrencies. So to trace these cryptocurrencies, we will come up with a plan. That is about this. The other article that will also be there. I will show that article too. Fine. So 5 lakh patients used QR code services at 365 hospital. This is completely focusing on Delhi's news, but yeah, I would like to add because this is part of your governance GS2. So here what is the case is that Ministry of National Health Authority under the Ayushman Bharat digital scheme introduced scan and share services for faster outpatient department. So every other time, suppose if I wanted to go to any public hospital, that is any government hospital, what I have to do? Initially they will be giving me a slot. So I have to wait for my slot time, and then I have to take a token. All these are offline process, right? Online is different. I am not talking about something which is online. Online consultations, I am not speaking about that. If I wanted to opt for an offline consultation, I have to wait for the slot time to be given, and then I'll go, I'll get a token, and then I have to wait in a line, or I have to stay in one particular place unless the doctor is calling me. Now, what is this particular scan and QR code is that your data will already be registered in this particular National Digital Mission Plan. So, in Ayushman Bharat, why this particular plan has been created is that one time you will be scanning the QR code, where you will enter all your concerns. Suppose now I need to go and meet some other doctor. So, what are my concerns? I will enter it. So, when I am entering it, I have two advantages. So, as a customer or as a patient, I have one advantage. As a government purpose, they have one advantage. What is my first advantage is that being a patient, my advantage is I don't need to wait. I am already suffering. Why should I wait for a longer time? So, my details to be entered, it might be wrong, not a chance. So, I can directly submit it. So, I can submit it, and then I can directly consult the doctor, and that particular time span will be reduced, right? Time span for my waiting will be reduced, and in the constraint of doctor, so in the constraint of government. Now, I am a person from government side, right? So, what will I be thinking? Whenever the patient is logging a particular data for consultation, will I be having their health record or not? Will I be able to know which age group people are attending to one particular disease? So, I will know, indirectly I will be having a database of health burden of my country. Are you able to understand? So, I don't need to take any new surveys again for health. So, whenever people are going to consult, then I will be taking that as a database. So, I will able to analyze the health burden of the country and then take policies towards sustaining or towards reduction of this particular disease. Are you able to understand? The similar way, even this sickle cell disease also in that part only, no? So, we have understood that the disease burden of sickle cell anemia has been growing. So, that is why we have put a target there. By 2047 is our target for elimination. This is the first time where government has introduced in this budget. So, that is one of the advantage of this, where, so in this particular article it has been mentioned that they will be given a particular QR code for registration, and it will be easing their registration and treatment with the doctor. So, currently how many hospitals? 365 hospitals have been installed with this QR code. Okay, fine. So, yeah. So, what are the apps that is being used? ABBA app. So, these are important again. So, QR code, any health applications such as ABBA app, Arogya Setu app, Eka Care, then Briefcase, Bajaj Health or Paytm, all these will have your patient can scan code. So, if you have any of the app, so if you have Arogya Setu app, I will open the QR code simple to my phone pay or any UPI based application. So, I will just open it, I will scan, and my health record will already be in this particular applications. I will be choosing my issue, then I will go directly for consultation. So, I will be allotting a particular time, then I will be going for that particular time for consultation. So, yes. So, ABBA number will be given, a unique health ID will be given, all these are further add-ons for this particular project. Okay, fine. Important as part of the governance, e-governance. So, digitalization of governance, that you need to understand. Next. Thank you, ma'am, for your support. Oh, welcome Bunny at YT. Welcome. So, yeah. Next. Ministry 6 report on Kaziranga Rhino estimation. So, we definitely need to know our flora and fauna count in order to estimate the level of environmental degradation. So, we need to protect our ecology. We need to have a proper count on what are the animals that are in the edge of extinction, or what is their exact count that shows that particular environment biodiversity too. Are you able to understand? So, we need to analyze on the effect of climatic change or the effect of the environmental, especially the human induced environmental changes. So, we need to analyze this. These are called like anthropogenic activities or anthropogenic issues which is triggering some environmental changes. So, yeah. So, in the day before yesterday's class, I think we have also discussed what is this El Nino and La Nina. We have discussed that phenomena too. So, currently what this particular article says is that Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climatic Change has sought a factual report on rhino population enumeration conducted in Kaziranga National Park Tiger Reserve in 2022. So currently this ministry has sought for give me the factual report. So what age group or how many are the exact count of this particular Kaziranga forest or these rhinoceros are present in Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserves. So that I need a proper analysis. Who have asked it? Who have asked it? Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climatic Change. Okay. So yeah, they have asked for it and nothing more than that is there in this particular article. Yeah. So one particular data here is important, but not so much, but yeah, concentration of rhinoceros which you can mention, where the Assam Forest Department Kaziranga Authority said that the estimation was consistent with rhinos average annual growth of 2.7% in the park. So averagely the growth of rhinos population is 2.7%. That is what who said? Assam Forest Department has told. So next article. 60% of the India's voters have linked their Aadhar to voter ID. So recently Union Minister, hello madam, hello Charan, Union Minister, yes Union Minister, correct, fine. So yeah, this article says about 60% of the India's voters linked Aadhar to their voter ID. So recently there was an update that, not recently but yeah. So now if I wanted to go to cast my vote, so I am a major definitely, so I will have a right to vote in my constituency, right, in the place where I actually registered myself as a voter. So now if my voter ID is missing, if I had link up with my voter ID with Aadhar, I can directly take my Aadhar card and cast my vote, right. So I have an integration of my voter ID with Aadhar card. So currently, yes, 2.1% growth. Yes, Bunny, fine. So here this article says that currently all over India 60% of the voters have linked both voter ID and Aadhar card, whereas in northeastern states Tripura elections has been conducted recently, in which they have found that 92% of the voters have registered themselves or they have integrated their Aadhar card with voter ID. So we also know that PAN card is also being integrated, it's already been done. So we have integrated or we have linked up, interlinked our PAN card, Aadhar card. Now Aadhar card and voter ID. So you should be able to figure it out that we are trying to integrate all our unique IDs. So if I click on Aadhar ID or any other ID, speculated one particular ID, if I click on that I will be able to, so I in the sense here the government. Are you able to understand? If I click on that, I should have entire details about them. Of course, it's not the compromising nature of one's own privacy. So are you able to understand? It's not compromising on one's private information, but whatever is necessary. For suppose, now as a government, I have launched one particular scheme. Let's say I have launched one central sector scheme. Let's consider Manrega, MG Narega scheme. So now I need to calculate on who are the beneficiaries. So I need to know whether my particular scheme will be actually beneficiary for the people or not. So yesterday we have seen one particular report, health report. So almost the scheme's beneficiaries were less than 40%. So yesterday we have seen that news, right? Less than 40% were the total beneficiaries. Then how come it is actually target oriented? So the efficiency is less than 50%. No. Now if I have a continuum or a interconnection of all these, for example, now I need to give MG Narega funds. Now I will analyze with Aadhar card what is their economical status. Will I be able to analyze because their PAN card is linked with Aadhar? So definitely I can analyze their income capabilities. So yeah, that. Next coming to your Aadhar and voter ID. Now if these both are being linked, there is no question of rigging, right? So malpractices could be reduced. How come? So people who are going with the voter ID and they are marking vote behalf of some other people, when Aadhar card is being linked, now can I have my thumb impression as an identity? So my fingerprint can be an identity, my iris scan can be an identity. By using AI tools, I can face recognize a particular person. Is he, is she is actually the person of voting? So are you able to understand this level of malpractices can be reduced once it is being interlinked. So currently this particular data is important for your governance again. In your Election Commission of India is also important here, where 92% of the people has been registered, have been interlinked their voter ID with Aadhar card, and then details to EC. Gujarat and Delhi are at the bottom of the pile. Southern states perform above national average. So southern states have performed, not this, southern states have performed well when compared to the national average. So compared to the national average, definitely, so above 60%. So if you can see, national average is 60%, no? See, this is 64%, 70%, near to 71. Gujarat, no. So other countries, other states which they have given, almost we have greater than 60% only. And compared to Northeast, you have Tripura with 92.3, whereas compare the other states which are in between or less than 65. See the blue colored, no? So yeah, except for Sikkim which has 80%, and the countries and the states like Gujarat and Delhi are very much least, where Gujarat is around 31.5% and Delhi is 34%. Okay, so this shows the level of penetration or trust on the government. You need to understand. Okay, next. So not in the case of Gujarat, but yeah, in Delhi. Next. So yeah, that is about this article. So they have told that some of these voters may have provided documents other than Aadhar, such as PAN driving license, to fill their Form 6B, which of the EC introduced last year. However, the form primarily demands Aadhar, and electors only provide an alternate document after declaring they do not have an Aadhar. RTI full form. Where did you find RTI? Right to Information Act. RTI full form. Right to Information. Okay. 2005. Okay, which guarantees your freedom of speech and expression. Okay, fine. Why did you ask? Is it there here? Yeah, you have it here, no? Right to Information, response to obtained by Hindu. So they have waged this particular right to information. That is when they have got all these things. So over 60% of India's 94.5 crore voters have linked their Aadhar. Says who? Election Commission disclosed a right to information response to obtained by Hindu. So Hindu itself has waged this or has raised this RTA. And you know one constraint about RTA? So you need to mention about what is the cause of your RTA. Suppose if I try to get some information from government body, I need to mention the cause. And of course, it is under the responsibility of that particular government body to decide on whether they will be giving that information or is it threatening the integrity or nation peace. So if it assumes that it is threatening the India's peace or integrity, definitely that will not be, that information will not be disclosed. Okay, fine. It's not a survey organization, Bunny. So basically this RTA is one of the tool of government only. So where each particular department will have a different kind of information. So RTA office will be there. So this particular person will deal with all the information that needs to be provided to the people. Suppose now I need to know what has happened in one particular department, why my particular, let's say I am a person where my particular scheme has not been granted, rest all people have got. So now I need to know what is the efficiency or what is the working of that particular scheme. I will go and ask the government, I will file an RTA stating that my reason I will be stating that, so I have been aggrieved person of this, so I need to know this information for so and so cause. So I need to mention what is the cause. So if they are satisfied, if the particular concerned officer is satisfied, then they will be giving my information. And of course that is not threatening our nation fabric. Okay, fine. So it's not a kind of organization, we would say that it is also part of government. Okay, fine. So yeah, I hope that's clear. So today this international relations are articles are not much importance where India is being concerned, so I have just skipped it. If there is anything important, I would like to share about it. Next, consumer demand to spur growth. So here the concept of inflation, important for your GS3, Indian economy, and very important topic which is your inflation. So what is inflation? Price rise. So we have inflation targeting too. RBI has certain norms through its monetary policy where it targets certain kinds of inflation. So, where this percentage should be only the targeted inflation. I have already told in many classes that the targeted inflation should not be increasing 6% and should not be less than 2%, and it has not been changed. So, currently, and to be precise, what is this? 4 plus or minus 2%. So, every other year the price rise will be there where it will be in the under the ambient of 2% or 6%. But because of this international impacts, global impacts, especially on crude oil or this Russia-Ukraine war or any other market scenario, it will be impacting certain other goods that are present in our country, because we have opened our markets. So, through 1991, LPG reforms, Washington census, IMF report, what we have done? We have opened our markets to global arena. So, what is LPG reforms? Offline students, online? Governance, yes Kritika, sorry for the late reply. Increase of price of terms, yes. So, what is this LPG reforms? Which is your, so yeah, liberalization, privatization and globalization. So, we have opened our markets. So, definitely here, yeah. So, definitely here we have opened our markets. So, any impact in the global scenario will have a domino effect on our country too. So, here the consumer demand to spur up growth. So, the inflation is definitely increasing. So, first let me read out this article and then I will explain you what I really meant here. So, Finance Minister sees revision in personal income tax slabs helping boost consumption, flags concerns about El Nino. So, they have already told that 50% are the chances for existence of El Nino. So, if you wanted to understand, just go through previous day, not day before yesterday's class to understand El Nino and La Nina. I have explained you clearly. So, yeah, so flags concerned about El Nino. So, if El Nino occurs, definitely this summer we will be having huge drought conditions. So, cautions that delay in global commodity prices returning to pre-pandemic levels could keep inflation elevated for longer. So, even though a downward adjustment in inflation may take longer to occur, especially if global commodity prices do not revert to pre-pandemic levels, the consumer demand remains strong despite inflationary pressures. So, basically, yes, liberalization, privatization and globalization. Yes, Kritika, governance is correct, fine. So, now here the issue is that generally if inflation is growing, what happens? So, let us say I have bought kg of 1 kg of fruits for 100 rupees. If inflation is increasing, let us say it has increased for 6%, then what would be same 1 kg of fruits within the next year? For the next year the inflation was 6%. So, it was 6%. So, for the same 1 kg of fruits I need to pay 106 rupees. Are you able to understand? So, 6% is a rise of prices because my inflation was 6%. So, let us consider this middle class families or any other below poverty line families. Okay. So, now if the price is rising, will the commodities or will people be able to consume in the same way? When their salaries or when their income is at the same level, considering it in a hypothetical case that their salaries are in the same level, yet what happened? This price is rising. So, obviously this consumer demand will reduce. Are you able to understand? But here what is the situation is that despite the occurrences of this inflation from compared to the pre-pandemic levels, still the inflation is hiking up, and the global scenario after pandemic, now the major impact is from Russia and Ukraine war. So, currently what is the issue here is that even because of this global scenario, inflation is hiking up, but at the same time commodity or consumer demand is also hiking up. Who is saying this? Finance Ministry. So, now what they are mentioning is that and propose the revision of or revision in personal income tax slab should boost consumption and spur growth. So, now what is the issue here is no, yes. So, here what is the issue? Kritika, for what you have told no? Did I ask anything like no? No? Yeah, Kritika, fine. So, okay. Now, inflation, most probably Inversely proportional to? So not completely, to an extent both are directly proportional, but if inflation is completely hiking up, then the consumer demand will decrease. Why? Because of high prices, people will not be showcasing interest in purchasing. People will fear that the amount is more for purchasing. So let us save it a more. Okay. So that is what basic scenario. I am speaking about inflation growing up uncontrollably. Understand? But now what is the scenario? With growing inflation, consumer demand is also increasing. So here the issue what is, now what finance ministry is trying to do is, they are trying to revise the tax slab. So what they are trying to do, taxation slabs are there which they have already changed towards, like currently the budget is being considered as a middle class budget because they have been given lot of benefits, tax slab benefits to people. So currently what they are trying to do is, they are trying to revise this taxation on personal income so that it can boost economy, it can trigger more consumption rate. So here it would trigger or boost consumption rate and spur more growth, because we are not ready to face this disturbances from global arena, where Russia and Ukraine war is triggering in West countries lot of, or triggering the scenarios of recession. And of course by the IMF report it is clear that India would be, consumers demand will reduce. Yes, correct, Ritika. So now what is the issue here is, Ukraine and Russian war is, because of this particular war, inflation is triggered a lot in Western countries, which is further resulting in laying off recessions, and further it might be leading to some other conditions. We are not sure enough. But IMF has speculated that in India we will be having 6.5% for this particular fiscal year, which is going to be ended by April, whereas from this upcoming fiscal year we will be having a growth of 6.2, and India will not be or unlikely to have the impact of Russia-Ukraine war. And to ensure that, what finance ministry is doing is, they are trying to make people expenditure, or they are trying to people spend a lot. Are you able to understand? This consumer demand they are trying to increase by reducing the taxation limit, so the people will have money and they will try to spend more, which will in turn trigger growth. So spending should be there more, not on savings. Are you able to understand? So that is speculations from finance ministry. And the growth prospects of 23-24 cited that economic services 6.5 growth. IMF has suggested that in India it will be witnessing 6.2, whereas our economic survey of 22-23 has stated that it would be 6.5 years for this particular, 6.5% for this particular fiscal year. So yeah, that is what they have mentioned here. So retail inflation has been 6.5%. I have been discussing that post this month. From the starting of month I have been discussing that retail inflation has crossed the limitations of 2 to 6%. It is currently 6.5%. Okay, fine. So that is about this article. Fine. And also our focus is on green economy. So this article I have told you already, where Finance Minister for global framework to regulate crypto assets or cryptocurrency. Okay. So Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has pitched on for a global framework to regulate cryptocurrencies during bilateral meetings with our counterparts, including US and Japan. So who are our counterparts? Finance Ministers of US and Japan ahead of G20 meeting. So she is trying to indulge different other countries' counterparts to get into or to lay a framework on cryptocurrencies. So which can be giving you a lot of income, as well as it can bring under the, or this cryptocurrency assets can be under the ambience of taxation or economy of the country. So the target of 5 trillion economy will also be achieved easily if cryptocurrencies or crypto assets will be under the governance or will be under the ambience of government. Are you able to understand? So far it is in the capitalistic scenario, no, where government or where the basically the government has no involvement or very less involvement in cryptocurrencies. So you can see the capitalist scenario there, and they are trying to make it under the ambient of government. So they are trying to have or involve socialism into capitalist market. Okay, fine. So that is about this article. Next. So she has also spoken about multilateral development of banks, then government debt issues, all these things she has spoken there. So, I have one last article to discuss, no, 2-1, contribution of workers with digital skills to India's GDP. So, now our focus is on digital economy. So, here the focus is 10.9 in lakh crore was the amount contributed by workers equipped with advanced digital skills to India's annual GDP, says who? Amazon Web Services, AWS study by Gallup. So, what they have told is that 10.9 lakh crore is the amount that has been came into annual GDP of the country because of the digital knowledge. So, that can be from IT, like services or gig workers who are working in this particular digital skills. So, that can be so that says who? AWS, Amazon Web Services, says in its survey, and also showed that the workers with advanced digital skills, 92% high salaries in India compared to within the similar education which do not have digital skills at work. So, comparatively people with digital work, and if you compare the same level of work in without digital, means the digital work people have earned around 92% high compared to the people with no digital work, but yeah, similar lines of work. Okay, fine. So, that is about this article. So, yeah, about Russia-Ukraine war. I actually did not discuss anything so far about your Russia-Ukraine war. I would like to spend a separate day on this, not separate day, yeah, at least half of the session, but I would like to give you a small gist and then we will wind up. So, this is the last article for today. So, the past and the present of Russia's war in Ukraine. So, when has this been started? Feb 24th. So, before that it was different and after that it has been different. So, yeah, the current status of the war of two nations, still it is being continuing, and recently what is the update? Even US President Biden has surprisingly visited Ukraine and offered support that yes, we will be offering our military support to you. At the same time, for Russia, who are the economical backup and who are the military backup? So, military backup, even Iran is helping it. So, whereas your economically or trade wise backups are China and India too. We are not directly supporting them, but yeah, we have trade relations with them, and which is completely trade relations, but somehow it is reviving their economy. It is reviving the economy of Russia. So, which showcases that we are indirectly supporting their economic growth or their war. Okay, fine. So, if you see this particular map, so Russia was having control before war. Russia used to have control on this particular area. Now, Russia's control has extended till all these places, and now it is asking for where the issue or where reclaimed by Ukraine. So, all these places were reclaimed by Ukraine. So, Ukraine is staying like it is trying to protect its own arena. At the same time, Russia has occupied all these advances, all these places. So, you can see that almost Russia is moving ahead with acquiring Ukraine. That is why now United States and other high economies are trying to protect it from Russia. Fine. So, after Russia has invaded Ukraine, there are signs of escalations everywhere. The West has recently announced supply of more advanced weapons, which is what I have told. So, USA has agreed that we will be giving you most advanced weapons to Ukraine in support of this particular war, and yes, and deepening its involvement in the conflict. So, it is indirect, not indirectly, directly it is supporting that. And here the main thing that you need to understand that, of course, the focus is that or outer ways, or in the, if you come backward and if you see it is a holistic way, it seems like it is a war of Russia and Ukraine. But if you go deeper, it is clearly a war between Russia and its allies, or Russia, Ukraine, Iran somehow, but mainly Russia fighting against USA. For what? To again establish its gone presidency or gone hegemony. Okay, fine. So, here the West recently supplied this particular weaponry. It has agreed that it will be supplying more advanced weapons, and in response to Russian President Vladimir Putin have already reinforced Russia's position to 1,000 kilometers long from outline in Ukraine. So currently they have proceeded towards 1000 kilometers in Ukraine. So that shows like Russia is far ahead, and with hundreds of thousands of troops announced suspending the country's participation in the New START treaty, which could trigger a number of arms race. So another thing, Ukraine is free flow of weapons from the west, hopes to arrest Russian advances and begin its own offensive regain lost land, and as war is extended, the risks of direct confrontation between Russia and NATO, both nuclear pairs, are also on the rise. So main issue what here they have come, Ukraine started that we will accept the membership of NATO, which triggered Russia. So it will be direct issue or direct threat to Russia only, no? So if you have learnt about international relations, if you would have seen world history, you would understand why the concerns of Russia is more where Ukraine is trying to align with Russia, with NATO. Okay. So yeah, so that is about this article, and here I would like to add some gist. Not going into facts because I will be spending a particular half of the day on this particular Russia and Ukraine war. So this particular article is not enough for your preparation. More than this is required, so I will be just giving you gist, and then we will spend a particular day where we have very much less articles, or I will be taking an extra class at least to discuss about this Russia and Ukraine war. This will be happening before your exam only, so we will have one session there. So the West has recently announced the supply of more advanced vehicles, which I have already told, and which has suspended Putin's participation in New START treaty, which could trigger a nuclear arms race. So completely Western countries have eliminated or targeted Russia on this. So they are not supporting it in any other manner. India is the one which is staying neutrally, at the same time it is maintaining its trade effectively with Russia, especially in terms of crude oil. Now currently Russia has jumped into highest position of crude oil trade with India. Why even at this particular time, why India should be somehow trade wise supporting to Russia? Because at the most of the times where India is in the crisis of its foreign policy, or even at the time where India doesn't have any kind of infrastructure or technology, it was always Russia which helped India. Even at the UNSC meeting where China or Pakistan tried to internationalize the border issues with India and Pakistan, it was Russia always which used its veto power to protect India, right? So India will be forever grateful for Russia. At the same time, India is not favorable to war conditions with Ukraine. So yeah, that's why India has sent its humanitarian facilities to Ukraine also. So post this war, we have also sent, not post this war, in the ongoing war itself, India has also sent its humanitarian facilities to, or humanitarian help to Ukraine. Fine. So yeah, other thing is, yeah, Russia, we are depending on them now. They are the topmost exporters to India. So they are the topmost exporters to India on crude oil. Okay. And another main important reason is that they have agreed to have transaction with our own rupee, not in dollars. So which would be a part of helpful to our country, where our rupee can achieve or can increase its stability in the international arena. So because currently $1 is equal to around 84 rupees. So now this kind of depreciating of rupee compared to dollar in the international arena will be reducing. So are you able to understand? Next. So territorial gains in Ukraine peaked in March 2022 when it controlled some 22% of pre-2014 Ukraine, since Ukraine recaptured some of the land in Kharkiv and Kherson, but still Russia controls 17% of the Ukraine as of now. So as of now, what is the update is that 17% of the Ukraine is being controlled by Russia as of today. So Mr. Putin has also managed to secure a land bridge between mainland Russia to Crimea, and Moscow annexed in 2014. These are the updates, latest updates, but yeah, don't worry, we will be discussing in depth about this later. So yeah, Ukraine given its dependence on the West would require clearances from the Western capitals for any final settlements, which also means that the everlasting solution, Washington and Moscow, should reach some kind of understanding. So what this particular article says is that somehow Western countries, or especially US, is continuously involving into this particular matter, where it has also sent this UN peacekeeping forces, and now the military support from US is being offered openly. So it is high time that Washington, that means US and Russia need to come up with a plan and they need to sort it out, because it's already been, now this time it will be more than, like currently anniversary has come. So it is high time that Russia and US and also Ukraine should sit into peaceful talks and have to resolve this particular issue. So that is about this article. More than this, I will be explaining you in a separate class on Russia and Ukraine war. So far, any doubts? So that's it about today's articles. Yeah. So all these are the details, but before explaining this, it's better to take a timeline and explain. So that is why I thought of explaining it separately. Okay. Fine. So, any doubts so far, or do you want me to discuss any other details or any other topics? I'll stay here for another 2-3 minutes. 2 minutes. No, I'm clear. Thank you, Kritika. Others, if you have any issues, you can tell me, else we can wind up the session. Any doubts so far? Or any topics that you want me to discuss apart from Russia-Ukraine war? I hope it's clear. Fine. So that's it for today. Thank you for the session. Good day. We'll meet tomorrow.